got a trauma to your neck to the extent of a broken neck, if you have plates in your neck and you're in constant pain, physiotherapy may well be able to help you, and also exercise to strengthen the area around the break or the fracture. Steve is available at EcclesPhysiotherapy.com down on the Warren Point Road. Well worth talking to him. You're welcome. How are you? James McAreavey of the Newry Maritime Association. We should start off by telling the people again. Jerry Anderson has passed away. One of Northern Ireland's best known presenters of radio and television, died at 69 following a long illness. And are sorry to bring you that news this morning, and also at this time he died overnight. Also dying overnight, a former Taoiseach, Albert Reynolds, played an important part in our peace process here, and he was 81. He died overnight. We'll miss the two of them. Very sad news indeed, Rowan, and in many ways the end of an era. Yep. You know, we'll miss each in a different way. I remember there was tension between Albert and Charles Hawkey. And I remember Charlie came into Carlingford Marina on his boat, Celtic Mist. Yes. And in she came, and I was there at the time in my boat, and we got into conversation. At that stage, Charlie had gone, and Albert was in. And I had just done major documentary work in America, which the government paid for. And Reynolds was there, and I was telling Charlie about that. And he looked at me, he said, if I had been there, you wouldn't have got that. So there was just apropos nothing. He would have had it himself. He had it himself. Listen to me, the wrappings are off. It's standing pristine and magnificent and full of authority down there close to the Fisher Park on the canal walk scheme, the walk by, the perambulation area. And it's the Newry Training Sculpture. It's there. Yeah, it's there. People can touch it. People can see it. Yeah, very tangible. And as you say, it's revealed at the moment. Next Tuesday, we'll be playing a leading role in the official unveiling. The DSD Minister, Nelson McCausland. Oh, he's been found. He had disappeared for a while. Welcome back, Nelson. You were keeping a low profile there. Well, but you'll be made welcome in Newry. He'll be made most welcome in Newry. Absolutely. And this last while, we have got a bad press. For some reason, people in the national press seem to take a delight out of lining up the bad news days for Newry. Tell me. But you know, we never seem to get due recognition for the many, many good things, as you know, sitting in that chair, that happen in Europe. Constant. You know, if you were to ask me of the flow of things that have come through here over the last year, and we're doing 5, 6, sometimes 8 interviews a programme, 5 days a week, 300, well, throughout the year, 5 days a week. The predominant influence has been good. Of course it is. Newry is good. Of course Newry's open for business. And Newry people are good. Absolutely. You know. No. So Tuesday morning, Rowan, at 11:15, the Minister will be here, and the Mayor, Dara Hughes, will be there as well, representing Newry and Mourne Council, who were also stakeholders and who managed the project. What's that fellow Crossy? He's a good lad. Well, you preempted me there, Rowan. It would be extremely remiss of us to discuss this project and not mention Seamus Crossy. Well, his name is iconic, and it's linked into the project. And forevermore, when the project is talked about, well, it's not Crossy will be remembered. It's not just that, Rowan. Seamus Crossy was the man who was in charge of the automation of Victoria Lock. Bless him. He also was the man who delivered the Navy project. Wow. As a result of his work with the Navy, the official who led the Newry Docker sculpture project, Sean McAveey from Neighbourhood Renewal, he was able to cut through a lot of the early administrative protocols and bureaucracy due to the work that Seamus had done on the Navy, and which he forwarded on to Seamus. Yeah. And that's how we got such a great
boost at the beginning and delivered the project so quickly.
Yes.
So I'm delighted for Seamus, and he's a very positive man. He's a hard taskmaster. When you're involved with him, you know, he expects you to pull your weight quite rightly.
Well, we wouldn't be praising him today if he wasn't that.
It's a two-way street. You know, Seamus expects you to deliver, but ultimately he will also deliver for you, and has proved that.
That's huge, and that's happening Tuesday. And Seamus will be there, the Mayor will be there, the Minister will be there, McCausland, yes, Minister McCausland.
And we'll also, very importantly, we'll have Mickey Mallon, who
did the sculptures.
Mickey did the plaques.
Yes.
Especially the one at the weighbridge at Moorendon Woodies, I think is absolutely spectacular.
It is good.
Michael McCall, who did all the plaques that are involved, and we'll have the Irish Artist Blacksmith Association, who made the Harry Hollywood seat. You'll remember 28 men from all over the island were involved.
They met here on a Forge-In weekend, and they did
last
the business.
October.
Goodness, where does time go? Would you tell me?
And that will also Gerard Loughren will represent the blacksmiths. So all in all, it makes for a good day. I have prepared a pamphlet which will be used for information on the day as well. Incidentally, it's called Trading Places, and features Francis Carville, for whom the plaque was unveiled in February.
Absolutely.
So it's all interrelated. And
growth all the time.
Work in progress, Rowan.
But isn't it lovely to see the old work side by side, the work of Mickey Mallon?
Oh, yeah.
Side by side with the modern. And, you know... Well,
this is it, Rowan. I mean, you know, the like of Mickey is the lesser spotted blacksmith. You know? And
yeah, we don't see much of him. He's very quiet. He keeps to himself.
Where would you go to get another man today with Mickey's undoubted skills?
You wouldn't. We would, you know, we could. There's the what do they call it? I'm just. It's wonderful. The traffic warden is putting something in somebody's car there. Not only do they put something in somebody's car, they take a photograph of it as well. Isn't that amazing?
To be sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But Mickey is there doing great things, and the whole thing forges forward. It's beautiful. And when the walkway is used and used and used, and people are now starting to get great pleasure in it.
Oh, no doubt, Rowan, because it has opened up the waterway. And this is exactly what we were saying from the beginning. You will remember that things were pretty traumatic at the start, and there was a public hue and cry about the trees being cut.
Yeah, sure.
But very quickly, as people saw the progress that was being made, especially when the new trees were sited, you know, the whole groundswell has changed. And I'm delighted to say that the populace are largely in favour. You know, I've yet to hear anybody criticise it.
No.
You know.
No. And the trees, now my hope is, and we have and you can have you must have had a word about the benches.
We have already discussed that.
And that's been changed.
And that's been changed.
Yeah, the benches at the beginning were down at the lovely sculpture, the Trading Places.
Yeah.
The benches were facing out onto the road to give you a wonderful view of the traffic. And we talked about it here in the programme.
That's right.
James undertook to mention it. And now the benches are turned the other way around.
Yeah.
As it should be.
And there will be additional seating.
What a good idea.
There will be additional seating. But again, Rowan, you know, it's like there was some criticism of the information board at the Canal Court at the beginning.
Yeah.
And you're not going to deliver a project on that scale without a snag list.
No.
You know.
But every building in the world is a snag list.
That's what I'm saying. Like there will be little faults, and there will be things to be adjusted, but they will be done.
Absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
And I mean, you're an older man than me, and
I'm very old.
And you know, you know that that is the first inward investment along the quays in our living memory.
Look to me. What I can remember, I don't know if you can, I'm sure you can. The man who lived in the little boat.
Dan Skelton.
Dan Skelton was his name, and he was there at the back of the railway bridge that swung.
Yes.
That would have come out of where the butter crane is now, where the timber yard was.
Yeah.
And you would know he was at home because you'd see the smoke coming up.
Well, funny that you mentioned that. Paddy McCann was talking about it the other day, and Paddy's 79 now, and he said he was talking about in their formative years, you know, after school and that, a favourite trick that they used to do on Dan was to put a slate over the chimney, and he'd be smoked out in the lighter, and then he'd come out and give them a chase. You know?
But there was no harm in it, because all he had to do was lift the slate off, and it was just a bit of fun.
Bit of fun.
But you're down there, I remember once in that area, there's a famous schoolmaster called Joe Sally in the Abbey.
Yeah.
Which didn't I wait? I must have been a terrible fellow. I waited for him as he was coming across, and from the market I threw stones at him.
Lovely.
And then did a runner and got into the house of my aunts in Mary Street, number 5, where I was born, Mrs. Carroll. Tave Carroll's mother.
Yeah.
And I was hiding when the door rapped.
Right.
And it was an angry Joe Sally having followed me all the way up the hill.
Lovely.
It was absolutely fantastic.
Well, just when you mentioned Mary Street, I remember there was a poulterer had a shop there.
Well, there was. I remember Mickey Boyle he had the fish there for a time. Then he sold them in the market.
Yes.
The poulterer.
Yeah.
I remember Pascal Kearney. I do remember Jack McKenna, who did the potatoes down at the back of where Crash Services is now.
Yeah.
Jack McKenna, and he used to have the chute.
But do you not remember?
The poulterer. The poulterer would have been where Riley's is.
The poulterer was
Lundy's
at the corner of the market. Relocated from North Street.
That would have been Chucky Ned's.
Correct and right.
And we always called him that affectionately.
Affectionately.
Always.
Well, myself and...
I remember it now, I can see it in my mind's eye.
Myself and Peter Marn were coming from school one day, and we affectionately called the name to the poulterer in the shop.
Not a good idea.
Not a good idea.
No.
Well, it was a good idea because it got the desired reaction. But we miscalculated. Yeah. And the poulterer ran out of the shop
very quick.
with a black and white apron on.
Oh, yes.
Pursued us across Dublin Bridge.
Yeah.
Into Bridge Street. And I was looking over my shoulder, and Martin said,
"You were nabbed.
Is he still coming?" I said, "Yeah." And we got up to the bottom of the glen, and the man was still behind us, and we got as far as Barney Toll's garage on the Dublin Road.
Ah, indeed.
And here he was coming, and the face flying out of him, and the sweat rolling off him. And we were coming to the end of our gallop too, I can tell you.
Yeah.
And we cut up into Eddie Curran's garden and got away from him.
Was that Mr. McAteer? Was his brother Andy McAteer?
Yes.
Now Andy, I remember as the lamplighter on Mary Street, and he lit the gas lamps. He went round of an evening time with a long pole, maybe 8-9 feet long, and there was a device at the top of the pole which, if he pressed and pulled the pulley, would spark and set the lamp alight.
Yeah.
And I remember in Mary Street, I was out playing with a pop gun. It was like a rifle that you pulled the trigger and there was a cork came out of it.
Yes, I remember those, yeah.
Oh, sure, didn't I hit him with that?
Oh, dear.
I escaped on that occasion. But then, later life, I got to know Andy so
you had
very
more
well.
lives than a cat, Rowan.
I was very lucky.
You were very lucky.
I tell you. But Andy then became a bosom buddy, and we, in my adult life, we founded together the Newry Canal Preservation Society when the outlook was less gracious than it is now. But we did what we had to do in those very, very early days. So listen, thank you very, very much indeed for coming in. Can we revert to having you next week again, please?
Well,
you might be away.
I don't think